Hi, everyone. Before we dive into today's discussion about estate planning, we first want to take a moment to acknowledge the devastating wildfires that have been affecting so many in LA and surrounding areas. Our hearts go out to everyone impacted by this disaster. We're also collaborating with various other nonprofit organizations and businesses like us in a number of events to bring relief and aid to those impacted. Follow us on our social if you want to be involved, either to volunteer or if you want resources to heal and rebuild.
Mhm. So these recent winds and fires for sure posed many challenges and worries for many, if not most people. For us, the worry is always there, whether it's about the safety of our family or wondering how we can help others. So it's a feeling that reminds us of how important it is to plan ahead for all of life's uncertainties. So, and we want you to know that during moments like these, we're not just attorneys. We are members of the community. We are moms, just like a lot of you. So we truly care about you and your loved ones.
Absolutely. This is why we're here today. I mean, like Mookie says, we're mothers of the community. We're very local. We're about 3 miles from the Eaton fire, a mile from the evacuation zone. So we're right there in the thick of it with everybody else. I'm Angela Shao, and with me, this is my founding partner, Mookie. We're both estate planning attorneys. Today we're going to simplify. We're going to go over the basics of estate planning and also share how we can help you take control of your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So first, why estate planning is important. So Mookie, let's start by talking about the real importance of estate planning. Why do you think it's so essential for families?
For families. Well, at its core, estate planning is about ensuring that your loved ones are taken care of the way you want them to be. So it's not just about handing down assets, it's about providing for your family's future, protecting them from stress and confusion, and making sure that your wishes are clear. For example, and if something has happened to me today or tomorrow, I want my children to be raised by someone who share my values and knows how to care for them emotionally. So estate planning can make sure that happens.
Exactly. Without a plan, you're leaving these decisions to the courts. In California, probate can be a lengthy and expensive process. Imagine your family's already grieving, and now they have to deal with months, not month. I would say years, is a year to year and a half of legal battles, all because no plans was in place. It can be devastating both emotionally and financially.
Right. And it's not just about your assets. What about, medical decisions if you cannot speak for yourself? Who steps in? Imagine being in a coma and not being able to make medical decisions yourself. You will want someone you trust to be able to make decisions for you on your behalf, don't you?
Yes, it's really about protecting your family and giving them clarity in difficult moments. And it's not just for the wealthy, as some people think. Estate planning is for anyone who wants to ensure their family has a clear plan, no matter the size of their estate and no matter what happens.
So that leads us to that next part.
Demystifying estate planning, goals, why you need it, and key concepts. Right. So this is one of the biggest misconceptions people have regarding estate planning.
There are so many though, but yes. Okay, let's start with
the
big
one big one.
One big one. I don't need an estate plan because I don't have a lot of money or assets.
Yes. People often think estate planning is only for the super wealthy, myself included. And I never went to law school thinking I'm going to go into estate planning, right? For this exact reason. But that's very far from the truth. Estate planning is about making sure your loved ones are protected and that your wishes are carried out. Even if you have just modest assets, like a car, a bank account, a personal belonging, having a plan ensures those things go where you want them to go.
Exactly. Because in California, if you don't have an estate plan, your estate might need to go through probate. Pretty likely. Right?
It's going to go through probate.
Yeah. Don't let that happen because it is actually avoidable, right?
Yes.
So don't let that happen.
So another misconception we hear a lot, a will is enough. I don't need a trust. Mookie, how do you usually address this one?
This one comes up all the time too. So people think with the will, they can avoid probate. A will alone does not avoid probate. In fact, it's actually just the opposite. A will alone will ensure that you have to go through probate. So it is a trust, on the other hand, that can keep your estate protected and away from probate.
Right. So will guarantees probate. It's actually one of the most powerful tools anybody could use, a trust, to protect their family from unnecessary stress and costs.
Mm-hmm. Right. So here's another big one. Estate planning is just about what happens when I die. What do you think about that one?
This one is something that we really try to re-educate and pivot on, to help people understand this this misconception. Estate planning is just as much about planning for life as is for death. It's actually about your life, everything to your death and beyond. Okay, I think of it as a timeline, right? So, for example, it includes documents like power of attorney and healthcare directives, which helps your loved one make medical or financial decisions for you when you're unable to do so. And we would say it starts as early as adulthood, right? That's when you should start. It's your whole lifespan. When you become an adult, this is a plan for your life.
Right. Most of the document that's in the estate planning is actually, it's for preparation during your lifetime, right? So without these documents, your family might have to go to various court processes just to make decisions on your behalf. And these processes are usually expensive and emotional draining, considering, the timing that they are usually required to involve themselves in those.
So here's another one. If I set up a trust, I lose control of my assets. It's no longer mine. What do you usually tell clients about that?
Okay, I like this demystifying this one. With a revocable trust, you actually retain full control of all the assets during your lifetime. You can change the terms, you can move assets in and out, around, or even revoke the entire trust if you want. So it's like having that safety net without giving up any control, right? So that's what provides the flexibility of it.
Yeah. So again, it's kind of opposite of what people think. A trust isn't a loss of control. It's actually a way to protect and streamline everything while keeping control firmly in your hands. And, with proper planning, you can even have control past your death, beyond your death.
Right.
So it's actually the opposite. Right?
Okay, here's another one for you. Actually, the last one we'll go over this time. Estate planning is a one and done deal. What do you say?
Not true. As we say, it's a life plan. Your estate plan should grow and change with you. Life events like marriage, having kids, buying property, changing the law, like tax law, it means you need to update your plan. It needs to be in sync. It needs to align. It needs to adapt and evolve as your life process. And
yeah, it's much more alive than people think. So
it's a life
in
plan.
California, especially, okay, the laws and tax rules can shift, and so keeping your plan current ensures that it always works as you intend them to be.
Yes. Once again, estate planning is so much more than just paperwork. It's about protecting your loved ones and your peace of mind and allowing that control and allowing that sync, that flow. Ultimately, without a clear estate plan, your family have to go through probate most likely in California. Mookie, would you explain what a probate is? We talked about it, mentioned a few times.
We mentioned it so many times, right? Yeah, absolutely. So probate is the legal process where the court needs to oversee every step along the way, the distribution of your estate after you pass. So for example, let's say you leave behind, a savings account and a car. Without a trust, without other planning, it actually requires the court to adjudicate who gets what.
Yes. Okay. So it's not just a hassle, okay? Yes, time consuming, 12 to 18 months, most straightforward in California. It can also cost a significant portion of your estate in fees. Okay, this is not fees you can bargain for. It's mandated. So we tell people it's usually about 4 to 8% of your estate. And because probate is a public process, everyone can see what you had, who gets what, and who is making decisions about your estate. And that includes your minor children's names. And this is why most family in California especially, prefer to avoid it altogether. So it's costly, time-consuming, public, and there are other actually downsides of probate, but at least those three are three main big things.
I think that should be big enough
Big
for
enough.
you want to avoid it. Yep.
So how do we avoid that? What are trusts and why are they important? The solution to probate avoidance, living trust. Let's dive into trusts. What they are and how they can work for you. A trust is a legal tool that helps you manage your assets both during your life and after you pass away.
Mm-hmm.
To think of it as a briefcase that holds your properties, assets, then you can set rules for how and when those assets are distributed. There are different kinds of trusts and each serve a unique purpose depending on your needs. So let's break a few of them down.
Okay, so today we'll go over a couple. First, the revocable trust. So this is the most flexible type of trust, as the name suggests. Revocable means that you can make changes to it any time during your lifetime. You can add or remove assets, change beneficiaries, change the rules that you put on it, or even revoke the entire trust if your circumstances change and you want to do that. Mm-hmm. For example, let's say you create a trust to leave your home to your children, but one of your children actually purchased her own home. Then you may want to decide to change the distribution plan and give her something else instead. Mm-hmm. So with the revocable trust, you have that freedom to do that without much hassle.
Yes.
So it's flexible. You get full control, like we mentioned. And, meanwhile, all the tax treatment for all the assets under the trust remains the same as how they were held under you, individual names.
Mm-hmm. So irrevocable trust, on the other hand, an irrevocable trust is permanent. Once you transfer assets into it, you no longer own them. You have cut ties, right? You can't change your mind. This offers a stronger asset protection. It's also an option to lower your tax liabilities down the road. For example, if you're worried about creditors or lawsuits, an irrevocable trust ensures your assets are no longer part of your estate. So they're protected. If you're a business owner or need to minimize estate taxes, an irrevocable trust can possibly be one of the right choices for you as well, because you will have that peace of mind knowing that your wealth is protected for future generations, because that irrevocable trust is no longer tied to your total assets.
Mm-hmm. So there's one other one that's we would like to go over today. It's a special needs trust. So for families with children or dependents who have special needs, a special needs trust is a crucial tool. So this type of trust would ensure that your loved one is cared for without jeopardizing their eligibility for government benefits such as Medicaid or other Social Security benefits. So for example, you can leave assets in the trust to cover things that those government assistance won't cover, like special education or home modifications. So this trust would give you that control over how the funds are spent, but it will not interfere with the benefits that your child or dependent already receives.
Mm-hmm. So it is crucial to create the right trust for your situation, whether you're looking to protect your assets, provide for your children, or ensure a loved one with special need is cared for. Trust can be tailored to your unique needs. They allow you to design your own playbook, both during and after your lifetime.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move our focus to revocable living trust. That's actually the most common one that suits most families. We're diving into something super important, but often misunderstood concept when it comes to estate planning and designing your own trust. So the key roles in a trust. Angela, do you want to kick things off?
Sure. So let's start with the grantor. There are three important positions in the trust. First, the grantor. That's the person who's creating the trust. So they're the ones transferring their assets into the trust and setting everything up.
Exactly. So the grantor has complete control and makes up all the rules, how things will be managed, who the beneficiaries are, and how and when they will receive them, the assets.
Then to the next role, the trustee. So this trustee is the person or people managing the trust, following the terms set out by the grantor. They have to act in the best interest of the beneficiaries and carry out the wishes of the grantor. Mm-hmm. The trustee can be a family member, a friend, or even a professional. Yeah. So it's like a manager of your company. That would be a trustee.
Yep. And this trustee's role is critical in making sure that everything runs smoothly. So a trustee should be someone you trust. It's all about choosing someone who understands responsibility and will act in the best interest of the trust and for the beneficiaries. So that leads us to the next one, the beneficiary.
Beneficiaries.
These are people or organizations that benefit from the trust. They're the one who receives income, assets, or other benefits just the grantor had intended.
Yes. So to sum up, at the onset of your trust, the grantors take up all three roles. So if you were to start a trust with your spouse or just by yourself, you're the grantor's trustee and beneficiary during your lifetime. So you gift, you manage, and you enjoy. It's all about what works for the grantor, right? You're the person. It's all about you. A well thought out trust can really give peace of mind, knowing that everything will be distributed the way you want, when you want, how you want, and to the right people.
Yep. Again, it's about control and flexibility. You don't give up control. Instead, you set up a plan that continues to protect your loved ones and your wishes, even if you're not able to manage it anymore.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, make sure your trust works as it should. One other very important element that is often missed in the trust planning is funding your trust. You have to fund the trust. And this is where a lot of people get confused. Mookie, let's share with our audience what trust funding really means.
Of course, super important one. So, trust funding is the process of transferring your assets into the trust. So, only when the assets are within the trust or under the trust name, they would then be controlled by the terms and conditions you've put in place for your trust.
Mm-hmm. So, think of a trust as a suitcase. If you don't actually put your things in the suitcase, it's not going to go with it, right? So the funding is the process of putting your things into the suitcase. If they're not in there, they can't be managed or distributed according to your wishes. So let's see what that trust funding involves.
Okay, so real properties, bank accounts, investments, life insurance policies, retirement accounts, and basically anything of value needs to be transferred into your trust or be planned for to go into your trust at some point.
There are a lot of moving pieces. And what if someone owns a business or multiple businesses?
Very good question. If you own a business, that too will need to go into your trust. So it's absolutely necessary to make sure that your business assets are also included in your trust.
Mm-hmm. So let's be clear. It's not just about transferring everything once and forgetting about it, right? It's a revolving door. It's a living plan. Your trust is a living document that should accommodate and adjust your assets or expand your lifestyle. It would be adjusted to your assets, lifestyle, and planning. So if trust funding isn't done correctly or kept up to date, the item will be left outside the suitcase and the trust won't function as it intended to.
Exactly. So trust funding is key. It's all about control again, and that peace of mind for you and your loved ones. And that's what we're here for, to help you navigate these steps and ensure that everything is in place. So if you're feeling unsure about the funding process or any guidance on anything or updating your trust, reach out. We would love to walk you through it.
Yes. Since we're on the topic of trust funding, I would like to take this opportunity to clarify something for our audience.
Please do.
There has been a lot of posts and comments and scared people calling us regarding disqualification of insurance claims for homes held by living trusts during this whole fire season and this whole disaster. So this is not true. As part of the funding process, after you have deeded over your home to your living trust, you will also notify your insurance company of the transfer. So your insurance company is aware of that change and can either issue you an endorsement or acknowledgement. So that means they acknowledge that transfer of adding your living trust, changing that your house from under your name to your living trust. But it's the same person. It's a change in name, not a change in person. Or some people, some insurance opt to do is add your living trust as an additional insured onto your policy. Either way, the insurance policy will work the same way and offer the same coverage as before, whether it's, after you have a trust. So don't let that confuse you or deter you from having a trust, please.
So this information should put many people at ease. Okay, and that's actually verified with a few
Insurance
insurance
companies, agents.
Yes, that their standard of practice, that was what should have been done. And even if it's not, it is, Angela's right, it's a change in name, not change in ownership. So it should not affect your policy.
So reach out to your insurance company, even if after you file the claims, get that acknowledgement, get that endorsement. It's clear that it's still the same owners. You should not be declined. Okay. So moving on.
It's good to clear that up.
Yes. Key documents everyone needs. Let's talk about the key documents everyone needs to have in place for a solid estate plan. These documents are like components to a complete toolbox, a toolbox to keep you out of court. They're important documents that work alongside your trust to provide protection for your loved ones and your assets.
First up, last will and testament. So this is the most well-known estate planning document, like the will. But here's the thing. Even if you have a trust, a will is still necessary. Why? Even though we talked about what's bad about the will? Because a pour-over will ensures that any assets that you haven't already placed in your trust are transferred there after you pass away. So it's like an extra safety net. Even though still hoping not to use it.
It's essentially, yes, a safety net for anything you may also have missed out and not funded in a trust. You forgot something outside the suitcase. This safety net will funnel it back in. Here's a key point. The assets in your will still has to go through the probate process, which is time-consuming and public, and that's why having a trust is still so valuable. It doesn't take place as an additional safety net that brings it back in if you accidentally left something out. That's why it is, and it helps you avoid it. So the trust is still the main component. It doesn't replace the trust. So don't overlook the need of the trust. And
even though the will is still necessary, but you don't skip the trust because thinking that if you have your will, that's enough. Right?
It's not. A will is not enough, and will guarantees probate, like we talked about. You need to have the trust, and the will is an additional safety net.
Right. So basically, don't overlook either one of them. Right. So that leads us to another crucial document during your lifetime, the durable power of attorney. So this document will give someone you trust the capacity to handle your financial affairs if you're ever unable to do so, like if you were to become seriously ill or incapacitated.
Yes, for example, imagine you were in a car accident and end up in a hospital, unable to sign a big business contract. If you don't have a durable power of attorney in place, your loved ones might have to go through a lengthy court process to get permissions to handle that for you. But if you have a power of attorney, your trusted agent can be able to step in right away and take care of it, and everything continue to run smoothly, even if you're not able to do it in person.
So the key benefit here is, of course, that peace of mind, right? You won't have to worry about your family going through unnecessary legal hassles if something unexpected happens to you. And it's about making sure things runs without delay and, without that unnecessary stress.
Mm-hmm. So along with that, there's the Advanced Healthcare Directive. This document is incredibly important because it allows someone to make healthcare decisions for you if you're unable to communicate your wishes due to an accident or serious illness. Excuse me. Let's say you end up in a coma or unconscious for some reason and cannot advocate for yourself. With an Advanced Healthcare Directive or healthcare proxy, you can appoint a trusted individual like your spouse, adult child, or close friend to make decisions about your medical treatment. Excuse me. This takes the burden off your family members who may be faced with difficult decisions without knowing what you would have wanted. It also helps prevent family disputes over medical choices.
Yeah.
So it's two things: healthcare decisions and also the directive that you will set out what your decisions are. So your proxy can make decisions on your behalf using the instructions, your decisions that you already provided.
Right. And here's the crucial part that the point that we want to make, that estate planning isn't just for after you're gone. I think that says it, right? The power of attorney and the health directive are going to be used during your lifetime, right? It's about protecting your family while you're still here. These documents ensure that if something happens to you, your loved ones have the legal authority to capacity to act on your behalf. That's during your lifetime. So that's, I think, really important component that people need to.
Yeah, so the two types of POA, the general power attorney, the medical power attorney, and the healthcare directives. Those three things work hand in hand to help your family to manage your affairs if you're unable to, for whatever reason. That means your spouse or children, if you don't have these documents, they'll be left in a situation where they're scrambling, right, to get permissions from the courts to help you, which is adding stress to a time that's already very difficult for them. By setting these up now, you take the burden off your family's shoulder and give them the clarity they need to act quickly and effectively when they need to. I mean, these are time-sensitive documents. And, when you're in that condition, it needs to be quickly and efficient.
So that sums up like the key documents along with the trust that's usually in an estate plan that basically would serve you as an entire package that would cover you during your lifetime and then after you pass.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now we want to talk about the exclusive 214 campaign we're launching. So in the beginning of January, with the intention to jumpstart 2025, we had introduced 30 for 30. This is a one-of-a-kind plan that provided VIP and expedited service to a selected group of highly motivated families and individuals. The idea was to get 30 people or 30 families to get it done in 30 days. Unfortunately, the winds and fire threw many people off their course, including us. So as we regroup and recover, we continue in our sincere effort to provide our signature standard of care, but also we're in search to do something even more for the families and community after such devastation and collective trauma. So
I think that fire and wind really hits home, right? We really want to do something. So estate planning is something that many people think about, but life gets in the way and it keeps get pushed back. We've heard it so many times. I've thought about it for a long time, but I just never got around to do it. We really want to introduce our goal for February, the month of love, our 214 program. So supposedly the two of us want to work with 14 individuals or families in this month of February to get their protection set up. Right? It's to give them that peace of mind. And, we feel so strongly about what's happened that we really want to work through with families, even though it could be totally overwhelming. We're here to, help you make actual progress quickly and efficiently.
Mm-hmm. So yes, the 214 is a truly one-of-a-kind program. This allows us to really focus on you and walk through your life plans together. The two of us and 14 of you will work closely together to navigate your life in its entirety. We have reduced the amount of space from 30 to 14 families and individuals to go even further in our signature care and attention and really nurture and support each other in this collective as we heal and recover together.
Mm-hmm. You will have exclusive VIP access to us throughout this entire process, and we'll answer your questions, walk you through every step, and make sure that everything is in place to protect your family's future. Mm-hmm. Right? And we are limiting this program to a smaller group to ensure that each family really gets that personalized attention that we want to give and that they deserve.
Yes. So if you would like to join this 214 collective, let us know. We'll waive the consultation fees and we'll be ready to recover and revive together with peace of mind, care, and serenity.
Yeah, this is more than just a plan. It's a promise to protect your loved ones and ensure that your legacy is honored, but in action.
So, thank you so much for spending time with us today. We hope you've gained valuable insights into the importance of estate planning and are ready to take the next step.
It is actually definitely the perfect timing to take action. So join our 214 campaign and experience this personalized VIP approach that will give you that peace of mind and at the same time show your family how much you love them.
So we look forward to welcoming you to the 214 Collective. When you're ready, go ahead and scan the QR code or visit our Instagram or Facebook page to activate your membership as one of the 14.
Remember, estate planning is an act of love. It's about protecting the people who matter most to you and creating a legacy that you can be proud of and pass on your way.
We're here to guide and nurture each other. Thank you for trusting us with your family's future. Until next time, take care and stay safe.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.